Hello and welcome to LFCS Talks. My name is Troy Beyer, and I am here with Leslie and Meagan, our 4th and 3rd grade teachers. We're going to do a grade level highlight and kind of talk about what it's like to work in those grades. So welcome to the podcast. I'm very excited about this one.
Thank you. Great. Good. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So first, let's just kind of get off and going. Let's start with a brief bio of kind of who you are, what you've done at Literacy First, what your current grade level, things like that are. So let's start with Meagan.
Hi. My name is Meagan Parnell. This is my 4th year at Literacy First.
Awesome.
But I was a student. Don't know what years. 5th through 8th grade. Mm-hmm. And now I teach 3rd grade.
Yeah. Secret. I kind of knew Meagan when she was in 5th grade. That may have been my very first year here.
That was.
It makes me feel super old.
Yeah.
That was
good
my
memories.
First year. Yeah. I was an aide in the classroom, in the back of the classroom.
Yeah.
I was helping. Yeah. That was very first year. 17 years ago?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sure.
Super old. Sorry. Okay. Next. Leslie, how long have you been here? What's your story?
Yes, I started with Literacy First in 2018.
Okay.
So that makes this my 7th year teaching, and I've been in 4th grade the entire time at Literacy First. Before getting hired at Literacy First, I worked at my daughter's elementary school, and I was a full-time sub.
Okay.
For 8 years before that.
Okay.
I stayed home and wanted to be not a full-time teacher at that time. But once my daughters got older, I decided to go ahead and throw myself in the game, and that's
Awesome.
where I landed at Literacy First.
Awesome. Have you been in 4th grade the whole time?
The whole time.
The whole time. And then you've taught 3rd grade the whole time you've been
The
here?
whole time.
Great. And you guys are both the team leads for your grade level, and the way that, can one of you describe grade level teams and kind of how the team lead situation works? Because it's not normal for every school to have a team lead.
That's true.
Yeah. So at our school, we have our teams dependent on usually your grade level or your department. So for my 4th grade team, I have 3 teachers that teach at the JA, and then I have myself, and 2 other teachers that teach at the LA. So that incorporates 6 classrooms under one team.
Got it.
So as a 4th grade lead, I do all the planning.
Right.
I kind of help lead my team. I answer questions, and we do a lot of close collaborating, which really helps our whole school as far as each grade level stay on point all together, so that one class is not falling behind.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And it kind of it makes sure that everybody is doing the same stuff. Like you said, it kind of no one's falling behind, but also that everyone isn't just, hey, I've got curriculum, you've got curriculum, I'm going to do me, you do you, and I'm on chapter 10, you're on chapter 3. It kind of lets everybody have the same kind of baseline to go from. What about events? Having a grade level team, how does being the lead, how does having a grade level team and a lead help your events happen?
We're the ones spear pointing it, getting it going. We'll delegate stuff, but we're the ones at the end of the day that get it started and get it ended.
Awesome.
What I love about our team system as well is that we are able to collaborate together.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Schools that don't have that team atmosphere, the teacher feels like they're alone and they're just them and their students. But when we get together, we have lunch together, we collaborate our team meetings, we're able to really pick each other's thoughts. How did you do this lesson? Oh, here's what I did. And it just makes us better teachers.
That's awesome.
Because I would never want to just do it on my own.
Right.
No, absolutely not. I love having a team and working with a team. All the time, we walk into each other's classrooms and they're this is what went well, this didn't. And then it's really nice as team leads, we get together and talk to know, what I look at 2nd grade, I look at 4th grade to see where are my students coming from, where are they going.
Right. We just had one, a big meeting, right? Where it was the whole purpose was to look at entry and exit points. And it was a really good meeting from my perspective. And I know that you guys have already started implementing things. I mean, it's really cool. So the grade level team works you're the team lead of your grade level. And so you kind of spearhead, this is the norms, this is what Literacy First does, this is who we are. So we have new teachers come on, you kind of take them under your wing and kind of make sure the whole grade level is going the right direction. But then also you as leads, who are the veterans of our school, meet together, and you all get to kind of bounce ideas off of each other and make sure 1st grade is preparing for 2nd and 3rd and 4th and that kind of stuff, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. So we had some questions that I shot to you guys. We'll kind of start on those right now. So first question, what is specifically challenging to your grade for students? Or what is the big like focus of growth in your grade level? Let's start with Leslie. So what is specifically challenging in your grade for your kiddos, fourth grade?
Well, so an overall view, I think really we emphasize when they come into fourth grade, they're in upper elementary.
Right.
So we really try to focus on like taking ownership of their learning.
Right.
So what does that look like? That means taking home your study guides, being responsible, knowing when your assessments are,
Right.
doing your reading, making sure you know your facts. Obviously, parents are a huge part of it, but we really try to
Right.
emphasize like we're shifting the ownership
Right.
slowly onto the students.
Right.
And that even comes in the form of when I have students tell me, Mrs. Haas, I don't have a snack because my mom didn't pack it. I mean,
Right.
I push back. Well, you are now 10 years old. You
Yep.
can pack your own snack. A couple other things with math. I think math is a huge growth point. We
Yes.
get into a lot of double digits as far as the operations go. So for like multiplication, we get into
Right.
double, triple digit multiplying. So that is a really big one. It's a lot of steps. It kind of is phasing away from just basic to like multi-step type problems.
Got it. That makes sense.
And then as far as like reading, I would say writing. Writing is probably a big one. The expanding of ideas
Right.
in like a 5-paragraph essay.
Got it.
Students are really challenged with that. I
Got
would
it.
say that is probably the biggest one in
Got it.
writing.
Yeah. That's interesting because so my daughter's in third grade and she's at Literacy First, and I'm watching the beginnings of those things, like these ideas of independence and personal responsibility. Because I think third grade is the first grade they have like a binder or something, like where they have to take personal responsibility for their work or something. Versus
Like their
second
folders.
grade. It just seems way more independent than second grade. So you can see like there's this tiered approach. So the third grade, what are the struggles or what are the challenges that you see third graders dealing with?
One of our biggest is just the switch in reading. We go from learning how to read to now you are reading to learn and to answer questions.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
it's hard for some when they don't have these reading building blocks because
Right.
they can't read to get their knowledge.
Right.
So that's just like a huge thing for us. And like the rigor in third grade, it goes up. It gets harder.
Yeah, the jump from second to third is one of the big ones.
Yes.
I think just second to third is kind of like one of the big jumps. And also third grade, you have something that didn't happen in kindergarten or first and second. What's that?
State testing.
Right. So what is that like dealing with the first time these kids have to sit down and on a computer take the state test? What is that like to prepare kids for?
It's hard trying to get them in the right mental state.
Right.
But once you're able to get past that and be like, this is something you do from now until high school, and you get them on board and you get them, like you give them buy-in for it, they're like, okay, I can do this. And then you
Right.
see them succeed on the test. You see
awesome.
them show what they know, and you see them doing like little hand motions to things that you remember teaching them. And then you're
Right.
like, yes, they got this. They did it. I told you you could. And then after you're like, was it that bad? And they're like, no, it wasn't.
That's awesome. So in third grade, one of the things as a parent that is sometimes it's good to know these things. Like I know these things because I work here and I've worked here for a long time, but many parents don't, is that you have to prepare these students how to use a computer, how to take a test, like at the same time. So like kids have learned typing, they're kind of like pecking, and they learn typing in first and second grade, and they're okay at it, and they play little games. But now the computer becomes a tool for assessment, and you've got to like do practice tests and do all of these other things to prepare them for this test. What's that like?
The first time you log them in is rough, but after that, I see the benefit. Like
awesome.
you are able to see that they know how to log in. You start teaching them the tools. They're able to use them. So that first time, it's rough as a teacher trying to be like, here's what you're doing. But after that, it's like, okay, yeah, this is helpful for you guys.
So I'm going to segue into a conversation that you and I had before this because this is a perfect timing for that. So we had this conversation that talked about the kind of the weird relationship highly intelligent or very smart kids have with effort. And so I guess to segue into my question that I will, or my conversation I'll bring up is, with the testing, do you see that students that are very high academically, who've never done this test, do they struggle to get on just as much as any other students with kind of taking the test and figuring it out?
Yeah, I would say it's a big thing for all of them. They
Right.
all have big emotions behind it.
Right. And so the conversation my point is, intelligence is not often directly or isn't directly linked to success in life. Like I think naturally people should know that. Highly intelligent people doesn't mean highly successful. In fact, as the special ed director, I've seen students who diagnosed with different learning disabilities end up being more successful in the higher grades than the students that school is super easy for early on, because students that learn that life is hard accept that life is hard. So when they're presented with something hard, they're like, it's just life. What have you, Leslie, seen with this difference between effort and intelligence, or kids that are told you're smart, you're smart, you're smart, but then all of a sudden they have to use those intelligence to like do something, versus students that have learned doing things hard is just part of life? Like, what have you observed?
Yeah, so a lot of times when students are naturally gifted in memory or in, comprehension or whatever that comes naturally to them, they don't have to work hard. Right. And they just take it for granted that they will do well, that they always do well, opposed to the student who has to struggle a little bit. They learn the struggle, but in the struggle, and we have a saying, one of our 8 keys is failure leads to success. I love it. I think I say that at least twice a day to encourage my students. And they know that if they try and they try again and they learn from their mistakes, they will be successful. So ultimately, those students who do struggle here and there in different areas end up being more successful because of the effort that they continue to put in, opposed to students who things come naturally. They don't know how to struggle, and they end up just not knowing what to do with themselves. Right. Especially if they've been told a lot of times that they are so smart, so smart. They end up depending on their smarts opposed to their ability to continue to try. As
opposed to resilience, right?
Resilience.
Yeah, I mean, I forget his first name, but it's Mr. Khan, who made Khan Academies. I heard him do this whole speech, and it was before I think I even had a kid, and it really kind of helped me bracket the way that I speak to my daughter. And he said that, he goes, one of the worst things a parent can say to their kid is, you're so smart, you're so good, you did great, good job. I mean, it's like saying good job is great, but saying you're smart and you're good, those words kind of build in this inherent idea of I am smart, I am good, as opposed to I can overcome anything. If you can switch that vocabulary with, say, when they try something and they fail and then they try again, and then they try again and they don't give up, maybe they still didn't succeed, but this kid never gave up. Reward the effort, right? Reward, even though there's failure, you see that your kid is succeeding. Good job, good effort, good try. Like, for example, if my daughter's playing soccer, and she might not be the greatest on the field, but if she's out there running her heart out and she's trying her best, I'm going to give her a high five. If she's out there sitting around doing nothing, just expecting a high five, I'm like, how did I do? You didn't do great. You didn't run. You're not even tired. Everybody else around you sweaty. You're not tired. But if she's down on the ground and she's trying hard, I'm going to reward that. And then if she scores a goal, I'm going to reward that even higher. Right. So anyway, reward effort. Not blue ribbon everybody. There's a difference. Right. Like that's different. Everyone gets a blue ribbon. No, participation trophies do not, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about teach our kids to overcome hardships.
Correct.
Which segues into the next question. How can our parents support our students in your grade?
Well, I'll add on related to this. Yeah. It's okay to let your kids struggle at home. And like in 3rd grade, I feel like parents and us teachers, we just want to jump in and help them. Yes. We're just like, oh, you're struggling with this? Here, let me carry this for you. Let me tie your shoe, or let me just show you how to do this really fast. But it's okay to let them struggle through it, because that's how they're going to learn.
Yes, I love it.
I think I even advised a parent one time, actually letting them fail in 4th grade is actually a good thing.
Yes.
Because the consequences are not as heavy, and they can pick right back up. I'll give you a small example. My child forgot their library book in today's library. Let me go back home. No, I told the class yesterday it was library today. Their consequence is they're not going to be able to check out a new book today. But guess what? Next time, I forgot my library book last time. I'm going to make sure it's in my backpack. So those kind of things, I think, the consequences are low in 4th grade to teach them.
100%. You know what? Okay, you just reminded me of something that Huberman. You ever heard of Huberman Lab podcast? He's a neuroscientist that talks about the way the brain works. No. Okay. So anyway, if you haven't watched the Huberman Lab, he does all kinds of research. And he talks about he's a really neat guy. But one of the things that he dug into is that idea of neurons that fire together, wire together, and
Oh,
neuroplasticity, right?
Yes.
So he
Okay.
talked all about neuroplasticity.
Yes.
That was his conversation. I may have said this in a professional growth to all you all years ago, but what is required for the brain to become more plastic, which means, for those that don't understand, neuroplasticity means your brain is ready to learn a new thing. What is required for your brain to become more plastic and be ready to learn something new is failure. It's that easy.
Mm-hmm.
Failure literally changes the biology of your brain, and it opens up the synapses in your brain to be ready to accept new information. It's like if I have this phone and I reach over to put it down on a box and I drop it, it's gonna be really loud, and it falls on the ground. Oh my gosh, they made a ton of noise. Now I have to go over here and get it. Now, when I move over here, my brain just learned, don't go over there, go right here, put the phone down. That's a super silly example, but that's very similar. Like, your brain learns how to do things based off of failure. If I didn't fail, my brain would not have been like, don't do that again, do this next time. And I guess my point is, just like what you said, having your student struggle and fail and not be able to have a book when they didn't bring their one to turn in the day before, that's great. Because then you have something that's learned for a long time.
Right.
Instead of, oh, he didn't cry one day. Now you have a lesson that goes on the rest of his life that will help them. So that's my advice to parents.
Yeah.
Let your kids fail.
Yes.
Failure is so important. If your kid never fails, then they will be less neuroplastic. They will be less willing to learn new things. Failure is the key. Another little tidbit. Science says if you fail for 30 minutes, then you're the most ready to learn something new. So,
Oh, that's good to know.
even as an adult. So if you're trying to learn a new
Good to know.
language, go outside and shoot 3-point shots or something that you're really, well, I'm terrible at basketball. Go outside and do something you're really bad at, and then come back and then study for your whatever you want to do. So,
That's good to know.
anyway, sorry. How else can parents support students in your grade at home?
I would say that asking questions.
Oh.
So at the end of every day in my classroom, we always come down the last 10 minutes and we recap.
Okay.
What are the things that we learned today? And I do that on purpose so that they know when when they get in the car, parents ask them, what did you do at school today?
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear, I don't know. So I put those things, we recap, we refresh their brains.
That's
so we know as teachers that when somebody can explain back, that is really how they are learning. Because I can listen, but if I can talk back and I can teach you, then I'm really learning. So asking questions about what they learned, what does that look like? Tell me more about it. That's one thing I think parents can do.
That's awesome. Okay, what kind of questions? Because I know the standard question is, how was your day? I get caught in that. And I also know that that's probably not the best. What kind of questions? What should they ask?
What did you guys read today?
Yeah, you go.
What was it about?
Yes.
And then if they tell you the story, who were the main characters?
Yes.
Was there a problem? Like, ask specific questions.
Awesome.
I also send videos home with I'll email videos to parents.
Okay.
So I just actually did this last night. We're learning partial quotients, which is a big division a strategy in 4th grade. And I had a student tell me this morning, Mrs. Haas, I was able to teach my mom based on the video. So, and her mom didn't know the partial quotient strategy, so she was able to teach it back. So just asking, how do you solve this using partial quotients? Those kind of questions.
Cool. Do you guys know the saying? There's some saying about learning is, like 3rd level learning is teaching or something like that. Like, you know something if you can teach it.
Yes.
Or you learn something more when you can teach it.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that?
If you can explain it and you have the words, that's way different than just thinking that you understand by listening.
Awesome. Cool. What else?
Limiting screen time.
Yes. Love it.
I see a
Please.
huge difference. I'm sure you do as well, Leslie, of students who have structured screen time versus the ones who are free for all on screen time. I see a huge difference in their attitudes when they come to school, just their effort they put into class. Like, I'm not saying all screens are bad. There's some things where watching a math video, that's helpful.
Yep.
But it's the limiting of it that really is affecting our kids.
Totally. So let's dig deeper there. Explain. So limiting how much, like, is let's kind of give a rubric. Like, what do you think would be an appropriate amount of screen time for a 8-year-old?
I think 30 minutes they get.
A day?
A day.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
Yeah, because I see a difference. I hear it in the way they talk to each other. They're always like, bruh, sigma, all these things. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? But it like comes out in everything that they're talking about. And
YouTube. So
yes.
I'm going to go specifically to YouTube is probably where this is coming from.
Yes.
Is that right?
100% agreed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's becoming more common knowledge, but I think that we need to understand YouTube specifically. You have access to everything. So you hand your kid a phone or an iPad or a computer and they're on YouTube. They can go anywhere and watch anything.
They can.
So many things that are way beyond what an 8, 9, 10-year-old should even be close to. So 30 minutes a day, should it be monitored or not?
It absolutely should be monitored.
Okay.
The internet can be a scary place. And so you need to teach your kids how to use it correctly to be safe online.
Got it. Cool. What about artificial intelligence? Jump into that.
I actually just had this conversation with my class in our morning meeting yesterday.
Awesome.
It's funny.
I was sharing with them, we were doing a would you rather question, and it kind of related to a video that I had seen. And I said, boys and girls, not everything that you see online is real.
Oh my
so
gosh,
we
yeah.
had this whole conversation about you have to question everything you see online and you cannot take it for its worth. And I honestly, I know this is kind of a different path, but one of the things, it's later in our discussion, we might talk about it, is them critical thinkers.
Yep.
And being able to think critically. And I think things like YouTube and artificial intelligence is like hampering that a bit.
Totally.
I mean, with the
when
slang.
used wrong, it's like anything else, right? I
Right.
mean, phones and screens and computers, all these things are great tools when used correctly. They can also turn us into mush and basically
absolutely.
ruin our lives and we can become like addicts, right? So AI and all this stuff is exactly the same. Can be a great tool when used appropriately, but it also, you need to learn how to use something as a tool. Kids don't have that skill naturally.
Correct.
They have to be taught that skill. Do parents play a big role in that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, it's a rhetorical question, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Parents play a big role in the way that screens are used and the way that phones are used and the way those tools are used. We only have 7 hours a day. Then at home, there's a lot more. So, yeah, glad you brought up screens. Anything else to go down that rabbit hole? Artificial intelligence screens.
Well, I was thinking, and I've shared with parents actually during conferences, that we're noticing, at least from when I first started teaching at Literacy First, 4th grade till now, the attention span of students has really lessened.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm not giving them instant gratification by reading a book opposed to screens and the way their eyes are connecting to their brain and it's moving everything around. So that's a big deal.
Yes.
Being able to focus is a huge deal when they are used to YouTube, TikTok, or whatever it is, and just flipping to the next screen. So we've noticed that a big difference in that.
Awesome. I'm gonna jump into real deep water. If you were gonna give an age, what age should a kid or a person be given or be allowed to have their own phone?
I don't feel like I can answer that as not having kids.
I've got kids. I can answer it. I'll answer it in a minute after you answer.
Well, so I will tell you that as a mother of 2 young adults, I advise parents all the time, wait as long as you can. I mean, really, there's really no need. I would say, honestly, maybe even high school. I mean, I know where my kids were in elementary school. There was really not a need for a phone. Middle school, I know some parents say, oh, they have sporting events or whatnot. Kind of understand that, but honestly, the later, the better. I would say 9th grade.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I agree. And I know that sometimes the argument is, and we're kind of off base, but we'll go this really quick. But the argument is, well, if they don't have the ability to text, then they literally are left out of their friend group, and that's a sad fact. I believe it's true. It wouldn't be true if all parents kind of decided we're not doing this anymore. First of all, So it'd be kind of nice if parents could get together and be like, hey, we're not doing this game anymore. Like, you can communicate different ways. You can talk at school like people, or make a phone call. Or what I've seen some parents do, which works half decent, is that there's some kind of device that's at home, but it's the adult's device. And then that has access to like a text situation. And they can text, but then every time there's a text, it shows up on my phone too. Like, I'm watching what my daughter's doing. And she's right over there and I'm watching her do that. Like, that kind of thing is highly controlled. It's between these times, you can maybe send a text message or you can watch, but having your own device that's just unfettered access, no. I think even in high school, there should be some kind of control of access. We've learned that taking the phones away at the high school level, when the kids show up to school, they put their phones in the little yonder pouches, and they don't use their phones all day, and the kids love it. They're like, hey, we're not distracted. We can actually communicate, and we can, like, friend groups are happening. So, okay.
Yep.
All right, we've, if you want to go into that one, find the parent conversation video that we have. To plug. It's in the YouTube channel. Parent conversation on social media and screens. Next, anything else about parents, that any advice you can give to parents? How they can support students at home with your grade specifically?
Read emails, read newsletters. Okay. We put a lot of effort into putting a weekly newsletter. We put dates for assessments. We put the fun things that are coming up. We even put the new units we're working on. So it's to go back to that questions, like what questions to ask. If you were to just look at our newsletter in 4th grade, it says exactly the genres we're reading, we're writing. It talks about, like, this month we're working on division in math. So you could ask specific questions even based on the information on the newsletter.
Awesome.
So just making sure to keep up on those newsletters and emails.
The newsletter can guide your questions.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah, we do the same in 3rd grade, specifically with reading with Open Court. They put some amazing questions on there for parents to look at.
Okay.
And then we're also updating our website. So it's like there's 3 places that you can go. Like, we use email. Well, actually, technically 4, paper, Dojo. I put the same stuff for another place, and then on my website.
Awesome.
Of all that same stuff.
That's fantastic.
And then I would say the last thing is just encouraging them to do their best every day. Do your best. The best thing you could do as a parent.
Awesome.
Do your best.
And that ties directly into effort. Do your best. And I'm proud of you if you're doing your best, because I'm your parent and I can tell whether you're trying or not. That's awesome. Cool. Anything else?
I was going to say, just having your child join in on just things with you around the house.
Yes.
Like, I'm just thinking, like, baking, like fractions. That's huge in 3rd grade. We start learning them. Just having them bake with you, just doing those, like, tasks, like going shopping, grocery shopping, helping you add things up, just like small things, nothing crazy, but just having them join along with you.
Awesome. That's great. I think that sometimes parents get caught a little bit in the, like, how can I entertain my kid, as opposed to, this is what I'm doing and you're just coming with me. And I think that even though the kids sometimes will, no, I wanna, they end up loving it. Like, when I go, I'm going down to Uncle Shane's house and we're going to do whatever. Can I come? Yeah. And she'll come and jump in and she'll just be a part of it.
Right.
That's how we teach our kids to grow up, because we're not raising children, we're raising adults. And so if they see what the adults do, then eventually they'll know how to be an adult. So, yep. I love it. Okay. Next question. What's specifically challenging or difficult about teaching your grade? Let's go with Meagan first.
Writing is really hard for us in 3rd grade. It's a big jump, just stamina-wise and content-wise. So we're trying to get them towards the end to what we need for the state test. And it's a huge process to get there, but their growth is, like, tremendous from where they came in from the end of 2nd grade to where they're leaving to go to 4th grade.
Got it. Awesome. Anything else?
I would say, number one, we do go to a larger class size. So from 3rd grade to 4th grade, we do go to a larger class size, which means managing more students.
Yep.
That can be sometimes a little bit of a challenge.
Yep.
The other thing is we face a lot of peer issues beginning in 4th grade. So we see a lot of friendship issues. Students don't always know how to navigate groups of 3.
Right.
So when you have friendships of 3, we are doing a lot of that. They're becoming more self-aware of themselves. So we start navigating those kind of issues in 4th grade.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense, because I've been brought into some of those issues where it's definitely I'm your friend, you're my friend, who's this person, this is the right, and so
Yeah.
kind of learning that like we can all be friends.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that?
Just having kind of some common language.
Okay.
We have a little saying in my class overall that it's no man left behind. And we do it kind of in like a military style.
Yeah.
So when I use that kind of language, the students know that like we're all a team, we're all incorporated. And then when it comes to friendships, I kind of will talk to girls specifically
Right.
and say, we just kind of relate to the fact that we can all get along. We can all be friends.
Yes.
And I give them tools. I give them talking points on how to be able to do that.
Cool. Awesome. What else? So we got writing. What else in third grade is a little bit difficult?
They are slowly becoming aware that their behaviors are now affecting others. So that can sometimes be a pivotal moment in the classroom of, what I'm doing right now is distracting my classmate from their learning. This is affecting them. They're not able to get X, Y, and Z now because I was throwing my pencil around or
Right.
drawing on my paper and the person next to me happened to be watching it. So like they're starting to realize that, and we're having conversations with them, taking responsibility of our learning and our bodies and taking ownership and just trying to get them to understand that what we're doing is affecting everyone around us. We are all a team, like whatever you just said, no man left behind. It's a team player effort.
Right.
And like when one of us is doing something really bad to distract each other, like you just affected this person and what they needed to learn today.
That's awesome. So I know that, do you guys do, because each classroom is like a little family. Because you have these little, all these kiddos come into a classroom, whether it's kindergarten or high school. I mean, high school less because they're not there all day, but like elementary grade levels, it's like a little family because you're hanging out with these people every day, all year. And so I love the way that you all kind of like from time to time do a little circle conversation, like a family conversation. And, I know at fourth grade went through some hard stuff recently, and it was beautiful, although how tough what the grade level went through, it was beautiful to watch how each little family came together and was able to just kind of talk through that kind of stuff. Without getting too deep or too hard or heavy, do you want to kind of dig into how you all create that family feel and how that helped kind of go through?
So we do a morning circle time at least once or twice. So a week.
Okay.
So I typically do it every Monday morning and then every Friday morning. And that's like the first thing we do when we walk in. So and it's funny because of course the kids love it because they're not doing morning warm-up work first thing in the morning. But they also like to just come and visit. And I open it up on a Monday because they have so much to say about their weekend.
All the time.
Yep.
All the time. And so I figured if I do it on Monday morning we share, and then we do it and we close it out on Friday and we talk about what are we looking forward to over the weekend. And we can kind of reflect on our weekend. So having those morning meetings and being able to hear individual voices and kind of getting to know personalities, and it puts a lot of trust. So, and I really encourage my students and to be open about how they feel about things. And some of the questions that I guide during the morning circle will facilitate that as well.
Awesome.
So that when hard things happen, they feel comfortable to circle up and be able to be vulnerable because we do this on a regular basis on not such a deep level, but they know how to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah. What about third grade? Do you guys do something similar?
We start the year really strong. Just we read our class as a family.
Oh, cool.
And just really creating that family atmosphere, and we all create like a promise to each other that we uphold throughout the year. And mine's on my wall. It's a sun, and it has all their names, and it's like, this is what we're trying to do this year, and we're always referring back to it. And I'm always like, guys, we are a team, we are a family, we're in this together. Like that language is happening every single day in my classroom.
That's awesome. So the question I just asked, I realized just overlapped kind of our next question. So what are some key strategies that you all use to teach in your classroom? So started with Meagan last time. Let's go with Leslie. What are some key strategies that you use to teach? I mean, we kind of talked about the morning circle, which that's huge. Building trust before you try to teach is big.
Right.
Because if you haven't built the trust, then why would I listen to you? So I know that's a big deal. So that's big. What other strategies do you use?
Well, to add on to that, So a lot of, in my teaching, I try to relate to the students.
Okay.
So get to their interest, and we call them hooking them. So for a small example, like when I'm doing a math word problem and my teacher's edition has a specific math word problem, I will substitute my student's name, or I'll substitute their interests. So whatever, they're into, if they're into Pokemon cards instead of whatever the prompt was. So just
instead of 7 eggs and 6 goats, it's like 7 Pokemon cards and
Jolly Ranchers, whatever that they can really buy into is kind of a big deal. Like it really helps the students really relate, and then they want to learn.
That's cool.
And that really helps in my teaching.
That's a good move. Yeah. What about you, Meagan?
We really try to get our students to slow down and know it's not a race. I don't know why at this age, they're just really into go, let me finish, let me be the first to be done. So we're really trying to get them slow down, take your time, go back, check your work, reread. That's for reading, writing, and math. You can go back and check all those things. So we're really trying to get them to do that. So that way when they go into 4th grade, they can be successful in that grade.
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about quantum teaching. Quantum learning.
So one of the things that is really big on my heart for teaching is using the VAC, which is the visual, auditory, kinesthetic.
Yes.
I try to incorporate that as much as possible. So visual, having things that students can see, whether it's videos, whether it's anchor charts that I can point to and they can see. And then the auditory, I mean, we are constantly making up little, I sometimes look probably foolish. If you walk by my classroom and you hear me and I'm clapping and I'm making up these little rhymes, and sometimes I just come off the cuff and I just start singing it, and it's catchy. And so it sticks. I just had one for unit fractions and I just made it up. And then when they went to go take an assessment, you could hear them say unit fraction, like it really sticks. So that's another VAK. And then kinesthetic, just hand motions, using your fingers, moving around. That's a huge quantum strategy that is just priceless in teaching 4th grade.
Awesome. What about Meagan?
We're really big into whooshes.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what a whoosh is, it is just celebrating students' answers, efforts, and it's a whole class doing it. So we have like a list in my classroom on the wall, and someone shares an awesome answer, or maybe they didn't get it right, but they put in a ton of effort into it. I'm like, okay, we're going to give you a whoosh. They get to pick, and we all go, okay, ready, and like whatever it is, and then you go whoosh and you point it in their direction, and their faces just beam and light up. And it's fun because then you get them to come up with some. Right now my class's favorite is called I Can't Snap, because we were doing a snapping one and one boy in my class just goes, I can't snap, whoosh. So it stuck, and now that's one of our favorites. We just go, I can't snap, whoosh.
It's great.
And again, we use that to celebrate effort.
Yes.
It's usually effort. I mean, at least I try to do that specifically in my class.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, when they have the right answer, but again, to go back to that conversation, thanks for trying. Let's give that person a whoosh and a
like
snap.
in the moment when you ask a question, no one's answering, and one kid's like, and they like step out into the water, and then they give a little bit of a wrong answer. Well, they're the only one brave enough to raise their hand and try.
Right.
So
yeah.
Can't snap.
Right. Yeah. And often I'll say to that one student, thank you for being so brave, because there are 10 other people that didn't raise their hand when you did.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's so cool. What else? Any other teaching strategies?
We're really big onto our anchor charts right now.
Okay. Explain an anchor chart.
You can make it in the moment. I find that's the best right now for the kids. For example, today I just did one about compare and contrast words in their writing. And just remembering the words and phrases. So I was like, okay, compare and contrast words. I have a big piece of paper, wrote compare, and then we went over the words. And then they're able to refer back to it, because they're like, okay, wait, I remember the word both, but like what else do I use? And so it's there then in the classroom for them to refer back to this knowledge that we talked about as a class, and they helped me make.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
We do a lot of gallery walks. So what that is specifically like, let's say we're writing sentences, and our students use whiteboards a lot. So whiteboards and whiteboard markers, or if they solve math in a certain way. So we'll have the students, they'll do it, and then I'll say, okay, now everybody get up and then walk around. And so we call them a gallery walk. It looks like if you were walking through a gallery. So you're not touching, you're just observing, and they're able to go like see other students' work on their desk.
Got it. Cool.
So it's a way to share.
That's awesome. Sweet. What else? Anything else on that topic before we move into the last question?
That's it.
All right.
I was like, we could deep dive another time.
We could we could go
Yes.
for 4 hours. I know.
Yes.
What are some of the big fun events in your grade? So I kind of touched on events with the lead teacher thing. So what are the big events in 4th grade?
So our big event in 4th grade, and what most students know coming into 4th grade, is that we take our students to Sacramento on an overnight field trip. So students fly out of San Diego with their classmates and a parent chaperones and a couple teachers, and they get to spend the night up in Sacramento.
Yep.
They get to go to the Capitol. They get to learn stuff about California history. And it's a really big trip. Often it's sometimes the first time these 4th graders have been on an airplane or have been away from their parents. And they're always so excited about it.
Yeah.
So in order for us to be able to fund that, it's very expensive. So we have a big event called the Fine Arts Night.
Yep.
And so it is a fundraiser that we do. And it also allows students' work to be displayed. So our Fine Arts Night is a time for parents to come, and they get to see this art piece that students spend, I would say, a good 2 months working on.
Okay.
And then there's also a musical component in it. It's a great night. It's
That's
really fun. They really look forward to it.
Cool.
We have also, a couple years ago, we brought, I started something called the Gold Rush Day.
Okay.
So-
Oh my gosh.
That
Yes.
was so fun. Your guys' first year watching that happen.
Yeah.
I've seen the hallways. It was amazing.
It
Okay.
is amazing. It was magical, to be honest. When I came up with the idea and I went to our parents that grade, and they really blew me away. I mean, what I had envisioned was nothing what came to life.
We have incredible parents.
Incredible,
Yes, they're the best.
just creative. I mean, some of the things they pulled off, I was wowed. So what that looks like is students come to school that day. Again, California history, we learn about the gold rush. It's a big deal.
Okay.
And they get to dress up like a miner. And at the LA specifically, they turn that entire 4th, 5th grade hallway into like a mine shaft and a mining town. And then we spend the day doing crafts, doing activities that involve the gold rush. And so it brings the learning to life.
Yeah.
So like one of our rotations is there's an assayer's office. And so they actually get gold and they take it over to the assayer's office, and we have this little weight and then they get to purchase things. So the gold rush is a big fun day for 4th grade.
That's great. 4th grade sounds great. What about 3rd grade?
Our big field trip is Lions, Tigers, and Bears.
Yep.
It is an overnight at an animal sanctuary in Alpine. And it started so we could prepare them for 4th grade and their overnight.
Okay.
It's like a small transition because they're just gone one night, but there's, as the name says, lions, tigers, and bears out there in a very secure cages. Then we sleep in tents. We have s'mores. We're learning about these animals that have been rehabilitated. Some of them have crazy stories, like where they came from.
Okay.
And just learning about their habitats, because that's a big thing in 3rd grade science is animal habitats. And so we do that. And to prepare for that, to raise money, because it's expensive, is our annual variety show.
Okay.
Where 3rd graders get to do whatever their hearts desire, really, that can be done on stage.
It's very specifically a variety show.
Exactly. Yes.
These are a variety of things.
Keyword on variety.
I've been to that show probably 10 times
Yeah.
over the years. Yep.
It's just so magical seeing what they
It's
come
really
up with.
sweet.
Like we had archery this year, piano, like some drawing, some math. Like you really see everything under the
was pretty-
sun, because
it
all
was
of those
awesome.
kids are like, I want to go to Lions, Tigers, and Bears. This is
Yeah,
how I
yeah.
do it. I'm helping either being on stage or off stage.
And you know
it's
what I
so
love
fun.
about your event is that I get to go watch and I see personality.
Oh, yeah.
And I just look at it and I'm like, oh, those kids are coming up to 4th grade. I mean,
Right.
I remember when one specific student, I will never forget what she did and this little wrestling thing. And I was like, wow. So I like going to your events because I really get to see personalities, and
That's cool.
they get to choose. So they really shine in their area.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's fun because I also know like 2nd grade will come up because they'll see their old students.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love to go to yours in 4th grade, see all my old students, see what they come
That's
up with.
awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
What about, isn't there one toward the end of the year?
Wizard of
Or
Oz Day.
Wizard of Oz, but isn't Polar Express?
Oh,
Christmas?
Polar Express, yeah,
Yeah,
Christmas
they're
time.
all the one.
We
Good
do. We
grief.
have so much.
Yes.
I missed Polar Express at Christmas time.
Yep, that one's a big one.
That is a big one.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
make it fun inside our classroom. We set it up to look like a train car. You make it freezing in there, like 59 degrees.
Yep.
You have hot chocolate, all the fun stuff for Christmas. And then our big one, usually around the end of May, is Wizard of Oz,
Okay.
where we have spent the last 2-ish months reading the book.
Okay.
And then we just get to celebrate. We do fun rotations with it related. It usually happens around after state testing finishes, so it's kind of a celebration as well of that for them. And us teachers dress up. It's just really fun and magical watching
Awesome.
it through their eyes.
That's awesome. Okay. Open mic. Do you have anything else on your heart that you want to share with our parents and anybody else watching or listening to our podcast?
You know, I don't know if this is just me getting old, but as I said, I do have 2 young adult children. I mean, these years with these kids, they just go by so fast. I mean, they don't stay in elementary school very long. So just enjoying them. I mean, just really enjoying them and listening to them.
Yeah.
I mean, really listening to what they have to say. Asking questions, like I said, listening to what they, their ideas. Speaking of something, I had heard that somebody that ended up being very successful in life said that he attributes the fact that when he was in elementary school and younger, and he would say at 5 years old, I want to be a ice cream man when I grow up. Guess what? His parents were like, you're going to be the best ice cream man. And then next year, I want to be a fireman when I grow up. So just listening to your kids.
Awesome. That's amazing advice. Anything, Megan?
We love having you parents on campus.
Okay.
Especially in our classroom. And I know that's hard for some working parents, but if you ever find yourself having like a random hour where you're like, I want to go, just email us. Like, we will gladly be like, yes, come in, because it makes your student so proud to be like, my mom's here helping, or my dad is here helping.
Absolutely.
It just makes a huge difference in their learning.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That means I won't have to do my normal plug to get parents to come and volunteer in the classroom, because it's one of the things that makes literacy first is parent involvement.
Yes.
And you are so right. When parents are there, the kid of those parents are beaming, because my dad is here.
And dads.
Yes.
We want dads. A lot of times it is moms, but dads are huge impact also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have to give shout outs to the dads, because this year I feel like I've seen more fathers on campus than I've seen in a while.
That is true. I've been seeing more.
It is so cool. It's great to see dads on campus with their kids. So great. This was a great conversation. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for being on the
Thank you.
podcast.
Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. And I think that's it. LFCS out. Thank you.